You start this week.
Can I start?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start actually, before we get to why did you read that, the podcast. I have a couple.
The podcast.
Yeah, podcast, the podcast. I have a couple quick plugs I want to do. We're sponsored by High Plains Library District, sort of.
Well, it's true. They are paying us.
They are paying us our normal hourly wage, I guess, to do this. One thing is Yes Fest is coming up. That's Saturday, September 20th.
Mm-hmm.
I had a funny thing my mom was telling me about, like something she's doing, and she was like, I'm doing that on the 19th or whatever. And I was like, oh, so it's Friday afternoon. And she was like, how did you know that? She's like, are you a savant or something? And I was like, no, I've just been advertising Yes Fest for like 3 months or, working on that for a very long time. And it's like a big event. And I was like, so, if you had said September or October 12th, I would have no idea.
Right.
But because it was right close to September 20th, I knew. Anyway, that's coming up. Big Youth Engineering and Science Festival. Probably not necessarily best for listeners of this show, but if you are a parent or guardian or person who...
Aunt, uncle.
Yeah, does... I'm just going to leave it there. I was I was like about to say, or a person who does stuff with kids, and I was like, I don't like, no.
Has kiddos in your life.
You have kids in your life that you care for and think they would enjoy science. Or maybe they wouldn't enjoy science, but you're like...
Well, maybe they think they don't like science.
Yeah.
Because they don't know that, you can do fun stuff with it.
Because they don't know anything about science, which is precisely why you need to bring them to this event.
Yeah.
So that's on the 20th. It's from 10 to 3 at Link Library Innovation Center, 801 5th Street? Something like that.
Look at me like I know.
It's from 10 to 3. You don't have to come. Everybody comes at, 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a huge log jam. There's a line, whatever.
Yeah.
You
Pro
can
tip.
come. You don't have to come at 10.
Yeah. Come later, and then it's less busy.
Yeah. I would come sometime before 2. An hour is probably not quite enough to enjoy everything, but you don't have to wait outside for 15 minutes to get it.
Right.
There's enough science to go around.
Right.
They're not going to run out of science.
Go for a nice lunch at 11. Come in at noon.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a lot calmer.
Yeah. Yep. And then the other one, our Board of Trustees. There's an open seat.
There is. I know about this.
Coming open in December/January. I never know exactly how that works. I'm like, so January 1st, are they like, you're out of here? You know what I mean? I don't know.
I don't either.
It's just by month. But anyway, and here's the tricky part. It's for Region 6, which is Kersey, Grover, New Raymer, kind of the northeast
Our
portion.
eastern rural communities.
So what's difficult about that is there are fewer people who live there.
Mm-hmm.
So that means smaller pool to draw from. But if you're listening to this and you live in that area-ish and you're thinking like maybe library board sounds good, please apply for that.
Or even if you just care about the way that your library works.
Yeah.
This is a perfect way for you to have a say in how that library will serve your community.
For sure. And yeah, especially because, if you're thinking like, I don't know if the library's doing a great job up there. I think it is doing a pretty good job, but I'm biased. So, but you can.
Yeah, or if you see an
impact your
opportunity,
community.
or you just want to like have a say and make sure that it stays good. Like this is the way to do it.
Or if you know someone who you think like this would be a good person for that. The other thing I'll say about it is like you don't have to have been a librarian.
No.
You don't have to be someone
I don't think anyone on our board has been.
I don't think so either. I don't know, but I don't think so.
I don't think so.
You don't have to have been on the school board before.
No.
You don't have to have board experience.
No.
You just kind of have to be a person who is
Who cares?
Who cares about
And
library
has some
service?
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say, like, you just have to be a person who's, vaguely normal. And I was like, you don't even really have to be. You just have to.
Are we the people to really say that?
No, again, biased. When I say vaguely normal, I'm like, I mean, I didn't open the curtains and see them outside my window at 2 a.m. You know what I mean?
Like that would be unfortunate.
Yeah, that will preclude you from being on the board. If you are that person.
No creepy behavior, please.
Yeah, nope. You cannot, being on the board does not allow you to come press your face up against the window at my house. Not that you'd see anything that you want to see anyway.
Right.
Me eating cheese at 1 a.m. in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But
hey,
I don't
it's the time
want
for cheese.
Yeah. And I don't want anyone to see that. That's my private shame.
Isn't that Tina Fey working on my night cheese?
Working on the night cheese.
Good times.
Okay. Those are the plugs.
Excellent.
That's what's going on at the library.
Yeah, come work with us, kind of.
Yeah.
Adjacent to us.
Kind of be our boss.
Yeah.
If you were like...
Yeah, if you want to get rid of this podcast forever...
This is a good way. If you want to stop complaining about it in iTunes reviews, which maybe people are doing. I have no idea. I've never looked.
I've looked. We have one review, and it's a good review.
Okay. Well, if you're complaining about it, if you hate this, if you hate Listen every month, and you want to put it to an end, that would probably be the simplest way.
True.
All right.
Okay.
So we have, once again, a Why Did You Read That podcast. We've brought our books. I'm starting, but you first have a joke.
I do.
Okay.
What do you call a boomerang that doesn't come back?
A boomerang that doesn't come back. A stick?
Yes.
Oh!
You did it.
Da, 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 da.
And we got it on tape.
We did it, yes. A stick. Do boomerangs actually do that?
Come back?
Yeah.
If you throw them correctly.
They do?
Yeah.
Okay. How?
We should ask our Australian friend.
We should. How on earth did somebody figure that out? Because
people are innovative.
a boomerang is like an old thing, right?
I believe so.
Like, I would be like maybe predates the bow and arrow.
I have no idea.
Potentially.
Although the bow and arrow is also a pretty astonishing invention if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing that like smarter or more intuitive people or whatever than me existed in ancient times.
You know what they say?
Nothing.
Necessity is the mother of invention. Like if you,
true.
If you were like, I have to figure out a way to take down this mammoth or die, maybe you would have invented, something too.
I probably would have invented a good way to just fall asleep and die.
Honestly, same.
Be like, this is probably the most painless way to, accept your fate.
I am not necessarily the greatest person for the continued existence of the human race.
Yeah. No, me neither.
So I'd be like, well, this looks pretty hopeless.
Yeah. Be like, well, let's work on a framework for just accepting that our lives are short and that we're going to be super hungry. Yeah. Maybe it's not about eating the mammoth. It's about accepting that we don't have the right to kill the mammoth.
I'm going to start a nice talking circle for us to come to terms with our own mortality.
Yeah, something like that. And everybody be like, oh, great, thanks. Really helped. All right. Here are my books.
I'm ready.
The first one is a book called Strange Pictures. And also I'm pairing it with another one called Strange Houses by Uketsu.
Ooh, I've heard good things about these.
Uketsu. Single name. Fairly enigmatic author who appears on YouTube wearing a mask and uses a voice changer to have kind of a creepy sounding voice, which I gather is creepy. It's a Japanese author. They are a Japanese author. I don't even know. I have no idea. I don't.
You don't know the gender of the, any specific identifiable details?
Not only do I not know that, I don't know if the author is acting as a human or some kind of ghoul. I have no idea. Anyway, so these are kind of mystery-ish books, but they're a little bit different than typical mysteries, and they often involve things like drawings or diagrams or other things like that. And I'm just pairing them together because they're very similar.
Mm-hmm.
and they came out at similar times in the United States. And I read both of them. The next one is a graphic novel called Robot Dreams by Sarah Varone. And it's also a movie that came out in 2024, which I pretty recently watched. So that's a little bit of a paired recommendation, a book to movie, which is better.
Which did
Showdown.
you do first?
The comic.
Okay.
Because the comic came out actually quite a long time before the movie. I don't know exactly how that happened.
And you read it then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I read it when it came. I mean, it's probably 15 years old or something before the movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
So it must have been something that somebody came across and was like, oh, we're going to make this a movie. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
It's odd. I feel like maybe I've just gotten used to a cycle of a book comes out and then the movie is out 2 years later.
Yeah.
And it's in production almost immediately because they're like, oh my God, this is successful. Make a movie.
Right.
Next is another comic, Harley Quinn Destructive Comics, Volume 1 by Elliot Kalin. It took me until I was writing up my list here to realize that Destructive Comics is kind of a joke on Detective Comics.
Ah, yeah.
I didn't figure it out, and then I was like, why is this called? And there is actually other reasons it's called Destructive Comics, but yeah, it's a little joke. It's very filled with jokes, and it's a solo series about everyone's favorite Joker sidekick, love interest, Lady Gaga portrayed character from the DCU.
Margot Robbie portrayed character from the movie I liked better.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah. Both from a movie I liked less and a movie I liked better.
Yeah.
Because the first Suicide Squad,
Yeah.
woof.
Yeah.
Second Suicide Squad, pretty good.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
Pretty good. And then the last is another comic called Marvel Unleashed by Kyle Starks. It's a bunch of animals solving a mystery and seems like something I should have no patience for and think is really dumb. And I thought it was a little dumb and great.
Yeah, I don't remember if I talked to you about it, but I remember when this was coming out and I was trying to decide if it was something the library should have. And I was looking at reviews, and sometimes I email you about comics when I'm like, is this good or is this not good?
Yeah.
And I remember that it had like surprisingly great reviews.
You know what? It lives up to the hype. I mean, Kyle Starks is a person that I'll basically read anything he does.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the whole reason I read it, because he put it out. And, you know, he's one of the authors that every so often I'll just put his name in the catalog and be like, oh, he did Karate Prom? I guess I will read Karate Prom then. And so he did that, and I was like, I would normally never pick that up.
Mm-hmm.
But since he did it, I did, and I was like, that was the right choice.
Well, let's continue on with Marvel Unleashed since we're already talking about it.
Okay. Well, Marvel Unleashed is basically the plot is there are, you know, various animals that live in the Marvel universe. And in this comic, it's mostly dogs that we're talking about. It's like Hawkeye has a dog who has one eye for some reason, and someone else has like a poodle type dog, and then somebody else has some other kind of dog, and they all kind of meet up because one of the dog's owner has kind of disappeared. And so he's trying to figure out where his owner went. And so he kind of recruits these other dogs, including a dog named D-Dog, who's not in the Marvel universe, who's basically what do you call an orphan dog? A stray.
An orphan dog?
What do you call a dog with no parents? But no human parents, but also no dog. But most dogs don't have dog parents. Anyway.
Well, they have them. They're just not like...
They exist.
Right.
They exist like my dad, which is, I presume he's out there somewhere.
Yeah, same.
You know, you don't really hear from him. Anyway, so they start trying to figure out where this dog guy's owner is. They recruit falcon, his bird Redwing, who's an actual, I think he's probably a falcon, possibly a hawk. I'm not a.
So he's a bird, not a dog.
Yeah, he's an actual
gotcha.
bird. Yeah, it's always weird. I do think it's a comics canon that in the comics, the superhero Falcon can talk to birds. I'm pretty sure they've abandoned that in more recent history because it's wacky.
I like it. That seems fun.
It's fun, but it doesn't, you could see how in the movies that wouldn't fit great with the movies.
Yeah, I guess.
It's a little Aquaman-y. You know what I mean? And people are like, you talk to fish? And he's like, well, I don't really talk to fish, and here's how it works. And then they're like, so you talk to fish then? And
I didn't see Aquaman.
Oh, it's fine. I didn't either.
Okay.
I'm just familiar with it from the comics. There's one Jeff Johns Aquaman comic. I believe it's Aquaman #1 from DC. What did they call that when they redid everything in like 2016?
Why are you asking me questions?
I don't know. Anyway, there's a really good Aquaman comic because he like comes ashore and he goes to like a seaside restaurant and he's eating fish and people are like, what are you doing? Isn't that like cannibalism for you? And he's like, I'm not a fish. And then they're like, but don't you talk to fish? And he's like, not really. I mean, I can communicate with fish and like understand what's happening in their head, but I don't we don't like discuss things, and he's like, because fish don't think that way. Megan, I need to take a brief aside from this aside because I think I Googled the stupidest thing I've ever Googled the other day.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, I'm going to make this as short as possible.
Pull yourself together.
Okay. I've become a big softie, which is related to this in my middle age. And it's been humid, and that means more spiders in the house. And I've been rescuing spiders and throwing them outside a lot more than I've been smushing them lately, which my wife doesn't care for because she's like, if they're outside, that's fine, or if they're like on the front door, but they're outside, that's fine. When they're in the bathroom, they have to die.
I have to say I'm on her team.
Most people are, I found. So one day she was at work and I was in the bathroom and I found a spider and I threw it outside. And since then, she's found there's been 2 or 3 like baby tiny spiders in the bathroom. And so she's like, you should have killed it, or whatever. And I was like, surely those spiders were there before. Or, are from a different spider than, which I didn't say that because I'm like, that just makes it worse.
Well, I mean, you didn't, in your defense, you didn't leave it for a day and then get rid of it. Like,
no, I immediately
you would have
addressed it.
squashed it or removed it at the exact same moment in time.
Exactly. It wouldn't have affected the presence of the babies.
Right.
But then she suggested, what if the spider came back, to where it was? And then I just Googled the phrase, do spiders know where they are? Because I was like, when I throw a spider outside, does it know where it was and how to get back there? You know what I mean? Does it perceive?
So the reference librarian in me wants to rephrase your question as, can spiders navigate?
Yeah, that would be a better question. Like,
Yeah.
Can a spider return to a place that it was removed from?
Right.
Does it have a mechanism to do that? But it was just basically, do spiders know where they are? And it was kind of great, like the results that came back, because you could tell Google was a little confused about what I was asking. You know what I mean? It's like, are you asking if spiders are self-aware? And like and then it's also dissatisfying because you're like, the answers are like, well, spiders probably don't experience self-awareness the way a human does. And I'm like, I know that. But also sometimes I'm like, what if spiders are self-aware and it's just in a way that we can't perceive?
I think that.
Yeah.
I think that about most animals.
It's entirely possible, right?
Yeah.
You watch like that Octopus Teacher documentary.
Yeah.
And you're like, I think this guy knows stuff.
octopi are really smart.
Yeah, I'm like, I think that they know things.
Crows, so
Yeah.
smart. They remember people for like 20 years.
Yeah. Which is also extra crazy when you think about it, because like they'll know an individual human. And if you told me if I stared at a picture of a crow for an hour and then you immediately put it in a group of 5 crows, I have a 20% chance of picking the right one.
Yeah.
Like it would be impossible.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I had to go off on that. Because anyway, I don't want to say a lot more about Marvel Unleashed because it's very short.
Right.
It's very quick, but it's very touching in a lot of ways. They talk about animals crossing over the Rainbow Bridge.
Oh.
And they,
Did you tear up?
I did, big time. Not only did I tear up while reading it, I teared up telling my wife about it while we were walking, and she was like, "Are you crying?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, she's not like, what a wuss, you know what I mean? She doesn't make fun of me.
Right.
She finds it very endearing.
Yeah.
But also I'm like, shut up. I'm a man, you know? I punched a hole in the drywall
Please.
to express my feelings.
I'm so tired of this men can't experience feelings thing that I'm not even going to,
Dignify that
No,
with a...
we're not even going to talk about it.
I've never been a bottle it up, punch a hole in the drywall.
Good.
Mostly because I don't want to fix a hole in the drywall.
Very valid.
And I don't want to hurt my hand.
Yeah,
I'm
also
like,
valid.
you know what? If I knew where the stud was, and it's like, okay, well, that's a stud. They're usually 16 inches on center, so I have a pretty good range. And the odds of hitting the stud are not great, but not nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, yes, I was very emotional about it. I don't even have a dog or a cat or a falcon.
But you have had
I have. Yep.
at least a cat, and I assume a dog at some point.
Yeah. My mom had a boyfriend who had a dog who kind of lived in our house for a while. But, you know.
And I know you had a cat that
medium.
you loved.
Yes, very much. But I don't think you have to. It's like, I don't know. It's just interesting. It's a good little story.
Yeah.
And it stretches the believability of the Marvel universe in a minor way. But ultimately, it's like, it's not so much that you're like, what is happening?
Right.
And also it's, you know, you watch a movie and it's got like talking dogs in it or whatever. And you're like, okay, we need to establish some rules here. Like, can the humans hear the dogs? Or like, if a human's standing in the room, are these dogs just all barking at each other in a circle? And the human is like, what is happening? Like, it looks like they're talking, you know, whatever. And this avoids that problem almost entirely, which is great. Anyway, I highly recommend it. I recommend anything by Kyle Starks. Karate Prom is very fun. That's kind of like a juvenile graphic novel. There are some very light mentions of, I'm not even going to say sex, but like these teenagers go to a prom together and then karate happens, and then one is showering upstairs and the other one is downstairs in the hotel lobby with friends, and the friends are like, she's naked in the hotel and you're down here talking to us. What is happening? You know what I mean? And that's about it. So it's like actually a perfect juvenile graphic novel, except if that level of mention of that sort of thing is too much for you, there you go.
Okay.
He did, you know, let's just go deeper. Sex Castle, which is like,
I've read that. I thought that was so funny.
It's hilarious. It's like a parody of 80s action movies. There's like a stand-in Schwarzenegger, a stand-in Rambo, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And great.
Yeah.
You know. He's done a bunch of really goofy stuff. He's done a bunch of stuff that's not as goofy. Awesome, awesome comics creator. Just try a Kyle Starks.
Cool.
And if you're on the more soft and fuzzy side, Unleashed is the one for you. The Kyle
Excellent.
Starks for you.
Nice.
All right.
All right. I also have books. Are you prepared?
I'm ready.
All right. The first one is a very short graphic novel, almost like, you know, a children's picture book length graphic novel called The Haunted Blizzard. by Aviak Johnston.
Hmm.
And I read this because it is based on a short story from a horror book that I love called Talk to Me, which we
okay.
actually discussed on this podcast a long time ago.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have it in the collection anymore, sadly. But if you're interested in one of the stories, you can get this graphic novel adaptation of it.
Okay. And that is not related to the horror movie Talk to Me, right?
No, it's not Talk to Me. It's Talk
That's
to
right.
Me. It's an Inuktitut word.
That's right. Okay.
Taaqtumi.
Yeah, I had no prayer of spelling that correctly.
It's fine. My next book is Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by
All right.
Olga Tokarczuk. She is actually a Nobel laureate from Poland. And this is, it is largely a character study of this Polish woman who lives up in the hills. And she loves astrology and animals. And there are a lot of hunters in the area. And she finds it personally like offensive what they do. And there end up being a lot of murders in the area. And she kind of gets involved in the investigation. And yeah.
I think this might be on my to-read list.
Okay.
Also, I just want to say I appreciate what I'm going to interpret as mid-2000s emo band song naming convention at play here, which
Well,
is
actually,
like super long names of...
It is a quote from William Blake.
Oh, okay. The
She also loves Blake.
The original emo.
Yeah, true.
Good old Billy Blake. Do you think anyone has ever called William Blake emo before?
You know, I wouldn't
Probably,
be surprised.
Yeah, okay.
My third book is called Winging It With You by Chris Pons. And it is about, so there's this guy and he's in a relationship. He's gay and they have, as a couple, signed up to be on like an Amazing Race type reality show. And when they are at the airport about to get on the plane, his boyfriend breaks up with him.
No.
And he's like, screw you, I'm going anyway. And so he, checks in his baggage, gets his boarding pass, goes into the airport and is like, what am I going to do now? I'm supposed to have a partner. And he meets a pilot in one of the bars who's there with a friend getting a drink after his flight. And this pilot has just been grounded for not having good work-life balance. And so he propositions, poses my boyfriend, go on the show with me. And he happens to be in this, he has to take all of this mandatory leave. So he's yeah, okay. And so it turns into this fake relationship, romance, flying around the world doing challenges kind of.
Interesting.
And it's super
That sounds
cute.
fun.
Yeah, it is. It's very cute. And then my last book is Life on Svalbard by Cecilia Blomdahl. And this is a combination of a memoir and a travel guide and a photography book. So Svalbard is an island that belongs to Norway, and it's in the Arctic Circle. It actually Longyearbyen is the city on this island, and it is the northernmost occupied city in the world. It's near the North Pole, and Cecilia Blomdahl lives there. And so she put out this book where she talks about the island and what it's like to live in the Arctic, and a bit of memoir and, some photos of her life and stuff. She also has a YouTube channel where she puts out videos. Right now they're coming to the end of all of their 24-hour days when the sun never goes down. So they're starting to approach the time where they're going to get some twilight now.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, I really like her channel. I actually had this on my reading list before I realized that she was the one who wrote it. But
interesting.
It's also one of the only places in the world that you can move without a visa. You can move there and live there without a visa. You need to have a job and you need to be able to support yourself the minute you can't. They actually buy you a ticket to move you off the island because you can't survive there if you don't have a job.
Oh, right.
Although living there will not earn you any points towards Norwegian citizenship.
So you can live there, but not in Norway.
Right.
Couldn't move to Oslo.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know me in the Arctic. I love the Arctic. I love the polar region.
All right.
So.
All right. I think I want to hear about Winging It With You
Okay.
by not Chris Pine, Chris Pons?
Pons. P-O-N-S. Pons.
Pons.
Yeah. So the main character is Asher Bennett, and he's in, a fairly one-sided relationship, obviously. He, bends over backwards and always is, trying to be the best partner, and obviously his boyfriend is, not that nice.
Not so much.
I don't even remember his name. He's very forgettable. We don't like him.
I'm trying to think of the name of a real trash. You know how a lot of rom-coms will have, the trash boyfriend that obviously they're not supposed to be with. Yeah. Chad, Kyle,
I think it is a C name, like Caleb or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, not that Caleb's a bad name. It's just
no, but
we don't like this particular one.
We gotta come up with something. What are we gonna say? It's not like anyone's dating someone named Count Orlok or something.
True. So, he makes his decision. He goes into the airport and he's sitting in a TGI Fridays, trying to decide what he's going to do with his life and lamenting all of his choices. And the pilot, Theo Fernandez, has just been told, that you have terrible work-life balance. He's
grounded.
He has not taken a day off in years. So HR is you need to prove to us that you know how to take it easy and relax, or you're going to go crazy and crash a plane. So you got to take some time off, and then we'll discuss it. Figure out a way to prove to us that you know how to relax, and then we'll reassess. So, he's gotten off his, last flight now that he's grounded, and his co-pilot is his friend, and so they have this tradition of going to TGI Fridays and getting mozzarella sticks before flight. And so they go, but because of this whole conversation with HR, they're later than usual, and the kitchen's closed, and they just sold the last order of mozzarella sticks to Asher.
Ah.
So Theo goes to try and negotiate, I need these mozzarella sticks, and they strike up this conversation, and he on a whim is makes a bet with him, and he's if I win, then you come on this show with me. If you win, you get the mozzarella sticks. And they end up, he agrees. He's well, what else am I going to do? I have all this time, and then I'll be on TV. So there will be this proof that I know how to have fun, how to take it easy and take a day off.
Okay.
But it ends up being confusing because they're posing as, as a couple, even though they've just met.
Right.
And there is an attraction there, but also you gotta
well, they don't know each other,
right? You don't know each other, but you're pretending you know each other.
Circumstances,
yeah. There's some enforced proximity, they have to share a hotel room, and
they have to be on camera as though they know each other,
right?
Yeah,
and they both have ideas for what they would do with the prize money if they won. Asher wants to start a science program. He's a scientist,
okay,
and Theo wants to buy his own plane, his own hobby plane.
Okay.
And so they, they don't need the money, but they would really it would be,
sure.
It would be it
would fulfill a goal.
Yeah,
that they
some
have.
dreams, that kind of thing. So they want to do well.
Right.
And so it just becomes, it starts out with a lot of awkwardness, and then there's some tension as they get to know each other, and they become the darling, the social media darling of the show. People are, they have their own hashtag, and
nice.
People really like them, and they have some family, complicated family stuff in some of their lives, and that ends up getting, brought to the surface a bit because now they're on TV. And
oh, sure,
yeah. But it's fun and funny and flirty, and it would make a great rom-com, I think.
Yeah. I like the sort of meet cute being based around mozzarella sticks.
Yep.
I heard the funniest, it always sticks in my mind because someone was, I wish I could remember who it was, but they were describing ska music. Someone was like, what is ska music like? And they were like, it's like what plays in a 13-year-old's head when they're at TGI Fridays and they get mozzarella sticks. And they come to the table.
I don't know if I understand that. but it's funny.
It's really funny because I'm like, it is. That is what would play. Okay, I have a question about this book. I recently, for the first time, saw the movie The Birdcage.
Oh, yeah.
Which I really liked.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah, and I think something I liked about it was that I felt like it was mostly a movie about like a gay couple who's happy.
Yeah.
And like they have good careers and, you know, they're secure in their lives. And it's a pretty joyful movie that way, you know, and they're like, you know, it's not like whatever that movie is where it's like
Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah, or like, you know, a guy's throwing himself out of a window or, you know, Tom Hanks is dying of AIDS. You know what I mean? Like
Philadelphia.
There are many, many movies, and they're not bad. You know, these aren't. I'm not like these are bad.
But there's
movies.
an abundance of tragedy.
Yeah, I feel like there aren't as many that are like gay joy. I guess. And where would you say this falls on the spectrum of?
I mean, they have their like. I would say that this is pretty on par with straight rom-coms, you know, like any Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks classic. I think this would slot right in. Like they have their issues. They have past relationships that have given them insecurities. They have complicated family relationships that they're still working out. But when it comes to them as people, like they have like they're in a weird position because they both are developing feelings for each other, but they also went into it with an agreement that it was, you know, they were going to keep it professional.
We're not going to catch feelings.
Exactly.
That's
and so
the worst people in these movies and stuff should know if you have to specify we're not going to have feelings, then you're doomed. You're already doomed.
Yeah.
You've already had the feelings.
Yeah.
Because you know what I don't have to do if I'm not going to have feelings for someone? I don't have to say that.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, don't worry about it.
Well, but you're also not like snuggling up and, you know, having on-screen kisses and like pretending. Like, it is weird, you know, if you're, you know, sharing a bed with somebody and, you know, having, you know, making social media posts where you're like cheek to cheek and like all of that. It puts them in a weird in-between space. And they decided, you know, we're going to remember that this is like about the show.
Right.
But then
On
they
camera.
like each other.
Yeah.
Like they have like legitimate chemistry. They start to understand each other and learn about each other's lives, and they legitimately like each other. And so they're in a weird place, but since as a reader, we get to be in both of their heads. Like we get both perspectives in the story. So we know that they both like each other and they're both good people. And so we just get to watch them figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, and we know because it's a romance novel that it is going to end well, you know, and they'll be together and they'll be happy. And so we just get to watch them be like silly little guys until they figure it out.
Oh, you doofs, just figure out that you love each other. My God.
And they're doing like crazy stuff, and like one of them has a phobia of snakes and they have to do like a challenge that involves snakes. And so you get to watch them like support each other through things that they're afraid of and or, you know, think that they can't do. And I think it's lovely. It's charming and sweet and nice.
Okay. Yeah, like I was trying to think of a scenario, but it doesn't work in real life, you know, like I drop off my car to get my oil changed and I'm like, hey, now just to be clear, you're changing the oil on my car, but let's not get feelings about, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like
you're not keeping the car.
Yeah. I feel like any scenario I can come up with where I would say that like as a joke wouldn't be, the other person would be so confused. Like they wouldn't know what I was doing.
Well, it's not a situation that most people will ever encounter.
No. Let's not get feelings.
Yeah.
Let's just, you know, do
I'd say
this
99.9% of the time this is a movie and book situation.
It's always like I've always wanted to do, but I've never figured out a way to do it. Like, you know, we're at a restaurant and it's like, oh, what can I get you guys to drink? And I'm like, I'm married. Okay. But I feel like that would just make the server feel bad. You know what I mean? Or like confused or weirded out. And I would be like, oh, that's not really the joke I'm going for.
You should do it in like your friend group when someone's like, hey, Peter, would you like a drink? And you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm married.
Do you want me to come pick you up tomorrow? Hey.
Let's not forget.
Yeah,
I'm in a
yeah.
committed relationship.
Come on, man. You know that. You need to stop with this. I mean, I think part of the joke that's missing with a stranger, right, is I'm like, they don't know that I don't actually think that, like,
Right.
everyone's coming after me.
Right.
All right.
Okay. I want to hear about the Strange Pictures / Strange Houses books,
Strange
because these have
Pictures.
been hovering on the edge of my, like, do I want to read these list?
Yes. The answer is yes.
Okay.
Okay. I'll talk mostly about Strange Pictures
Okay.
and then a little bit about Strange Houses.
Okay.
Basically, it's a mystery. It's kind of like a mystery novel, except my perception of mystery novels is I think the normal structure of them is kind of you follow a point of view character as they sort of unravel the mystery, a Poirot or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And as the book goes on, you know, you get clues or like there's red herrings and stuff. And then a lot of time, I think in the kind of mystery people like the most, maybe the reader and the POV character solve the mystery pretty close to the same time. Maybe the reader just a bit ahead of the POV character, or maybe the reader solves it just before everything is sort of laid out and revealed. Which I think part of the problem with that for me as a reader is I'm like, I don't want to read like 250 pages and then get it all at the end. And also, I don't read that way really. Like I don't,
Yeah.
if I watch a movie and there's like a twist coming or something, it's almost like I'm intentionally not looking for it because I'm like, I think it's more fun if I don't know there's a twist coming.
Yeah. I'm not a mystery reader for the same reason. It's like, I don't want to be involved in the storytelling. I want you to tell me the story.
Then I think you'll like this.
Okay.
Because this is a mystery that I think one thing I like about it is it's very different in that I wouldn't say there's like super strong characterization for the most part. And your POV character, there's not like scenes where, you know, like those classic detective novels where it's like, I took a walk to clear my head and then went into a bar and, you know, some dame came up to me and like
I think
whatever.
you're thinking of noir.
Yeah. You know, and there's not a bunch of interstitial stuff that's not related to the mystery.
Okay.
It's not like, you know, oh, we got to see Jack Reacher get off the bus and then he's got to go to Walmart and buy a new 3-pack of plain white T-shirts that look amazing on his ripped body, you know, all that stuff. It's very much focused on the mystery. And like most of the book, like 99% of the book is about moving the mystery forward and solving the mystery and like conversations where people are actively solving the mystery. There's also very little to no like red herrings in there. There's very little like false avenues the book goes down. It's pretty direct, which I liked because I was like, when I'm reading a mystery, I'm like, well, this is a fiction that someone made up. So, you know, to have it go down false roads is realistic, but also it's like when a book has a prophecy and then the prophecy comes true, but I'm like, but you made up the prophecy. So like, of course it came true. So anyway, it's very different in that way. And then I would also say the mystery is solved gradually, progressively throughout the entire book. So you're not getting like one piece here and one piece there, or, you know, you're not getting 90% of the solution in the last 20 pages.
They don't take all the suspects into the drawing room and then say, and then tell the story.
Aha,
and that is when the gardener came in.
Yeah. It's not like playing a game of Clue where, you know, it's like there's not much until the very end.
Right.
It's really very much like, it's almost like there are discrete portions of the mystery and it gets solved each one as they go.
Okay.
And the book really does kind of lay it out. Not in like a condescending way, but in a way where I understood it. I was like, I understand what they're saying and like whatever.
Right.
So Strange Pictures is a mystery where basically these two guys have found this blog online, and it has some very strange pictures.
Oh.
And they're drawings, and like the drawings don't actually seem very unusual at first. But then as they start looking at them more, they're like, oh, it's kind of odd. Like, there was such a long time frame between these two pictures. I wonder why that is. And like, what does this picture mean? And then they start doing stuff like manipulating the pictures a little bit, and that reveals something, and all this stuff. I think most people, if you read Strange Pictures, there's kind of a prologue that starts with a picture that a kid drew. And it's basically analyzing that and saying like, well, we can kind of determine that, likely this kid feels this way about this and this way about that because of things in this picture. And I think if you read that prologue, it's probably 10 pages and you're like, yeah, I'm into this.
Okay.
You'll like the book. If you're like, not into it, maybe not for you. Strange Houses is very similar, except it has a lot to do with house layouts. So,
I've heard this compared to House of Leaves.
I would say I could see some parallels. It's not as, how would I say it? Like House of Leaves is so
Experimental.
weird. Yeah, and experimental. And this is much more straightforward.
Okay.
It's not so much pictures interacting with the text or like the book being laid out in such a way that it replicates, House of Leaves for people who've never seen or read it. First of all, just flip through it because you'll see.
Yeah.
But House of Leaves is a book that's meant to replicate somebody finding just basically a pile of papers in a chest and putting the narrative together through that. But, so there's like weird layouts and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, so it has a lot to do with house layouts and stuff like that. It's kind of a nightmarish version of like a browsing Zillow or something.
Okay.
I did not like Strange Houses as much.
Okay.
Because this is a problem that I have as an individual is towards the end of the book, it kind of lays out the mystery and solves the mystery and all that stuff. And up till the end, I was really liking it. And I was like, okay, yeah, you got me again. But towards the end, it starts explaining everything. And there are a lot of names of characters introduced and like their relationships and stuff. And for me to understand it, I should have been like making a chart. But I didn't really realize that until it was too late. And then I was like, oh, forget it. And I cannot keep that stuff straight. Because when they say a name and they're like, that's so-and-so's aunt, and so here's the part they played, but then they just use the name and they don't remind me who that is, like I cannot keep that straight in my head. I don't know why. I just cannot do it. So that one wasn't as good for me, but I do gather that some people prefer it.
Okay.
It's a little more supernaturally.
Okay.
It's a little bit more
Spooky.
Yeah. I think it stretches reality more. It's creepier.
Okay.
I think it presents an idea that a lot of people would find creepy and weird and unusual. I think they're both very good. And the one just unfortunately goes to a place that I am specifically not well suited to read.
Right.
And so that was
it's not the book,
bit of a
it's
letdown.
you, kind of.
Yeah, I think so. It's just something that I cannot do as a reader. I don't know why.
Okay.
I think they're both really fun. I think they're mysteries, but they're in a very different matter-of-fact, more linear kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot less just narrative thrown on top of it.
Okay.
That I'm not going to say I don't need it. Like I enjoy books with characters and stuff, but it's something unique.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I'm not used to. Maybe it felt a little bit like when you watched the Sherlock series with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
And the earlier episodes before we're really getting into the relationships and stuff and learning more about the characters and it's more just the mystery.
Yeah.
It's more like that,
Yeah.
than
Oh, that show's so good.
it's a good show.
I would take more episodes of that show.
Me too. I'm still hoping, they'll do it. But now I'm like, maybe in another 15 years and it'll be elderly Holmes and Watson and,
Yeah.
like I'd love it.
I'd take it. Yeah.
It would be great.
No problems.
Be an elderly Sherlock Holmes saying he caught the last hour of John Wick 2 and he liked it, but has no interest in trying to watch John Wick 1 because that's, that's my perception of that's what I'll be doing when I'm old.
Being crotchety.
Yeah, or just, I think I'll be doing it intentionally to infuriate people. Be like, I saw that Avatar 2 the other day. Never seen Avatar 1. Oh, well. Do you want to see it? I don't not want to see it, but I'm not going to make even the slight effort to push a couple buttons.
Yeah. In my day, you had to wait until it started on the TBS.
That's right. I'd only ever seen the second half of Titanic because I only ever watched the second tape because I never rewound the first tape because it took too long.
Because somebody stole it.
Yeah.
All I had was the second tape.
They had it at the Ark, but only the second tape. The first tape that was in there was a completely unrelated movie.
Yeah.
Something they taped off of HBO that was terrible.
HBO tapes. Those were the days.
They were, weren't they?
I still remember, I had VHS tapes. I remember all the commercials and everything. This became part of the movie.
Yeah. Oh, have you heard there's this story going around because there's a guy who probably has the only recorded copy of the first Super Bowl. And he recorded it from TV. So it's got all the commercials and everything.
So it's an artifact.
Yeah. And that's definitely how he's pitching it. Because he's trying to get the NFL to buy it from him because they're like, this is, amazing, whatever. And NFL is kind of like, we have the game tape. We don't have the, whatever. And they've basically told him yeah, beat it, buddy. We're not going to pay for that. And I'm like, it is an interesting argument, though.
We're librarians, though.
I know.
We we like to recreate the experience as close as possible.
For sure. Yeah, because I'm interested in that. Now, if he's like, would you pay $10 million to watch it? I'd be like,
yeah, no.
I wouldn't pay $1 to watch it.
Right.
But also, I don't care about football. I'm like, well, if you told me we're going to release a version of The Simpsons and it's going to air and it's going to be on Fox 31, which you watched as a kid, and it's going to be all the commercials that were with it and, all the whatever, I'd be like, I am pretty interested in that.
Well, it's my turn for sidebar.
Okay.
So, I'm a big Broadway girl.
Yes.
Love Broadway. There is actually an archive in New York at the Juilliard College. The Broadway archive is there. And they have, so shows that run long enough, they get a taped, version that goes into the archive.
Oh, sure.
And it is free to the public. You have to make an appointment and everything. But I went there and I watched the original cast of In the Heights when I was in New York to see Hamilton.
That's cool.
So you can go and see the original cast of A Chorus Line or Wicked in the archive. So,
that's cool.
That's, to me, that's a similar thing. You could go and you could see the movie adaptation of Wicked, but there's something different about seeing it as it was initially performed by its very first cast in its very first year when it was fresh and nobody had seen it. And
I would waste it on seeing, maybe I wouldn't.
Spider-Man Into the Dark.
Yeah. I
don't know that it ever got a recording. I don't know that it ran long enough.
Probably not. Yeah, that's probably what I would. That's the one I'd be most interested to see.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I've seen Spider-Man and Green Goblin live from that show.
Yeah, I gathered that they both went on to do.
Yeah, they were both in Hadestown, which I saw.
Well, and I gathered that was a pretty well-cast show.
They're both great performers. Reeve Carney in particular, who played Spider-Man. He's got an amazing voice. Really high soprano voice. Not soprano, but like whatever that it is for men. Anyway, falsetto.
Maybe that's part of the fascination with that show is you're like, it should have worked. You know, they had a good cast. It was a Julie Taymor joint.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I could see how Spider-Man, you know, and he's swinging around the theater and stuff. And you're like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
You know what I would say, though, especially since we've talked about this before, is the reason that Hamilton, which is equally as wild, the reason Hamilton works is because Lin-Manuel Miranda is equally fluent in Broadway and hip-hop.
Yeah.
Julie Taymor was not equally fluent in Broadway and comics.
Yeah. And I would say U2 was not equally fluent in pop music and Broadway music.
I never like musicals that are scored by pop stars, with the sole exception of Cyndi Lauper's Kinky Boots.
Yeah. Well, it seems like they try and they're like, we're going to bring rock to the theater.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. You need to make a theater show.
Yeah.
With your, you know, you can throw some of
Music
your
works
flavor dust on it, but
in a narrative.
Yeah.
Like you can't just put a rock song in the middle of a show.
No.
It doesn't work. Anyway. I didn't mean to derail us that hard.
All right. The other one that I think, oh man. I'm going to ask you to talk about Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead.
All right.
I'm also interested in the others, especially Haunted Blizzard, but I figure since that's a short one.
Yeah, I can talk about that in just a couple minutes. Okay, so I have to admit that, so I was, you know, going through this book, and I knew that I would probably end up talking about it today. And before, like in the first like half to 3/4 of it, I was like, I don't know that I understand this book. I don't know that this book is for me, and I'm not sure what I'm going to say about it. And then I finished it, and the way that it finished made it actually a really satisfying read.
Interesting.
So the story centers on this woman, Janina Duszejko, and she lives in Poland near the Czech border, in like the countryside, I think outside of Krakow. I'm not sure. I don't know the geography of Poland well enough to really say.
Neither do I.
Yeah. And she's an older woman, and there's like a little community of like houses up in the hills, but most people only stay there in the summer months.
Okay.
And when it gets cold and snowy, they all move down to the city. And like she stays there. There's one other older man who stays there, and then there's a hunter who stays in one cabin, and they're kind of there year round. But other than that, most people leave. And she has like a winter job where she goes around and keeps an eye on the different houses, make sure that like there's not like that a dammed up gutter isn't letting water into the house, or that there's not a random broken window or something. She makes sure that they're like safe and secure through the winter.
Seems like a good way to come across a dead body.
Well, that's not what happens.
Oh, okay. Shoot. Need to stick to my uketsu books to do the mystery for me.
So she is a vegetarian, and she loves animals and feels very strongly about their treatment, but she lives in this area that has a very strong hunting tradition. And she kind of tolerates it, but there are a lot of aspects of it she doesn't like, and she is constantly reporting poaching, people who are like hunting animals out of season.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't like there are these what they call pulpits there. We would call it like a deer blind.
Oh, okay.
Where, you know, people get up into the trees and then shoot animals from, and she was like, you put down food and draw the animal and then shoot it in the head. She's like, this is just violence.
How is this a sport?
Yeah. This is just murder.
Yeah.
So she does not like the hunters. The hunters don't like her because she's constantly, you know, complaining about them.
Sure.
So she's got a reputation as a bit of a kook. She's also really into astrology. And so she does a lot of horoscopes and has theories about like you can tell someone's date of death and even cause of death from their horoscope and all of that. So she's constantly getting people's like date of birth and where they were born and like doing star charts for them. And even when she will like write to the police station to, you know, either give them information or report like somebody for poaching, she'll sometimes include information from a horoscope. And so
I
people
see.
are like this
So they're
batty,
like, okay,
crazy lady up on
this
the hill.
crank who's like,
Exactly.
and he's a Sagittarius. Typical.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So that's where we start. And then one of her neighbors comes to get her in the middle of the night and is like, our other neighbor, the hunter, he's dead. Like I saw that his light was on and his light is never on at this time. And so I went over there and he's dead. We have to go and we have to get him looking presentable before the police get here because he would be so ashamed to be found like this. And so they go to his house and like put him in clothes because he was like sitting in his boxers and like a dirty tank top and everything.
Okay.
So they're doing that. The police come and he had choked on like a bone from a deer that he had poached because there was like a fresh deer butchered. And
she's like, well.
A little bit, yeah.
What a shame. I'm so sad for him.
That's like the first death in the area. And she... I'm
sorry.
No, it's fine.
I'm thinking about like, an annoying neighbor I had dying somehow from like, I don't know, his stupid stereo speaker blew his head off, and I'm like, oh, darn it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
If only that speaker hadn't been so loud.
Yeah. Yeah, if only someone had warned him that was a little bit loud.
Wow. So, yeah.
I wouldn't have done it myself, but boy, I'm, not unhappy.
So that death is like, she gets called in and they like interview her about it. And they're like, why did you touch the body? And, like you shouldn't have touched the body.
Which is fair.
Yeah. But, so that's like the start of everything.
Is this like in modern times?
Yes.
Okay.
And shortly after that, the chief of police who, she had been talking to and like she's been complaining to and all of that, he is found like in a well, dead. She has like one of her former students comes up once a week to like have dinner with her and they work on translating William Blake. And he works for the police station. So he'd seen the police chief's car and he was like, what is he doing up here? And they like go into the woods and they find the well with the commandant, was how he's known, like down the well dead. And there are all of these like little footprints around. And she's like, it's the deer. The deer killed him. Like he was ignoring the poaching. He was a hunter and the deer have taken their revenge. Mm-hmm. And that becomes her story. And she's like telling everyone around town and they're all like, somebody shut this lady up.
Yeah. And they're like, okay.
Yeah. And then there are more deaths in the area. And she's like, it's the animals. The animals are taking revenge. Mm-hmm. And I have proof in my horoscopes to show you. And so like for a while I'm reading it and I'm like, this just feels like, a story where I'm supposed to be like reading about this woman and deciding like, is she like seeing something everyone else is missing or is she like descending into madness? And like, I was like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be getting out of this.
Sure.
But then by the end, where it goes and how things wrap up, I was like, this is more interesting than I thought it was going to be. And I ended up feeling like the story was really satisfying. But you have to be ready for an intense character study of a really odd lady.
Yeah. I mean, it feels relatable to me in a weird way of like, I feel like most of us know someone or have a family member or something who you're like, they're like 90% normal. Mm-hmm. But then, they're like, I don't know. Yeah, they're like, oh, I made a police report about XYZ. And you're like, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. And then they tell you also, then I said, I'm pretty sure I saw him also drawing a pentagram on the backside of a wall and, was trying to conjure a demon. And you're like, I would have left that part out.
We used to work at one of the branches and one of our maintenance guys was like in the parking lot picking up trash. Yep. And one of our patrons came in and reported him for suspicious activity and said they were pretty sure he had a dead body in a bag. That's what it makes me think of, is like people who just let their imaginations run riot.
Yeah. And you're like, you're like, oh, I guess I guess I
I
could
mean, I
see,
can see
but
if you saw somebody walking through the parking lot and like, is he looking into cars? Like,
yeah,
this
what
seems
is he
creepy.
doing? Yeah.
If you didn't see that he was like picking up trash, I
Yeah.
can see how you would be like, what is this guy up to?
Yeah.
But then like to be like, he had a bag, I'm pretty sure it was a body
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It is always that thing where you're like,
on a Wednesday morning at a public library in the parking lot.
yeah, or when you're reporting a suspicious thing and you're like, maybe just report what you saw.
Yeah.
And before, cut yourself off 2 sentences before you think you should.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to speculate on the motives
Yeah.
of what they're doing,
Yeah.
like, and I think maybe he's in a cult. And you're
Right.
like,
Yeah. And that's kind of what it's like for
I would
her.
go out and
'cause-
take a look-see without the cult part.
Yeah. It's like I'm reading this book and I'm like, these hunter guys, like they're mean to her. They are like poaching and like just they'll have someone like spread a bunch of feed around and then shoot all of the like it doesn't feel sporting. Like it just feels like they're just out there. It's like the trophy hunters who are like posing with a dead lion and you're like, you're just a jerk.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about the hunters. And so I'm sympathetic to her, but also you're watching her and you're like, you are not helping your case. Like you're making yourself look like a raver.
Yeah.
And so it makes for an interesting reading experience. But then the way at the end, like I said, and I don't want to go into it because that's the satisfaction of the story.
Sure.
The way that the story progresses. And I guess this is why she's a Nobel Prize winner for literature. It ended up in a place that was interesting and felt earned and felt like, I don't know, gratifying.
It's one of those like maybe I think it's rare for me to read something where I'm not feeling it, but then the ending wraps it up so great that you're like, it justifies the whole reading experience. And you're like, oh, now I kind of understand why I was confused or whatever. And
this time that I spent in this weird like middle space between like liking her and being sympathetic to her and also wanting her to stop.
Yeah.
Like that was where I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds cool.
I listened to it on audio. So first of all, it's nice because there's a lot of like Polish and Czech names in it.
Oh, yeah.
So hearing them pronounced properly is nice.
Yeah.
But also if you're a little like, I'm not sure how much time I'm willing to spend like in this person's head, like you can get through it maybe a bit faster or like in pieces listening to it on audio. Like feels like less of a commitment to me.
Okay. So
I don't know. If you're curious about it and you want to try it, but you're also a little like, I'm not sure if this is going to be for me, because it's one of those where I feel like you're not going to know if it's for you until you've finished it.
Right.
And that's rough.
That is tough. That does make it's hard, right, to recommend stuff like that because you're like, I promise it's worth it at the end. But
what if it's not?
If it's not for you, then you're going to have done a lot.
Yeah.
And, well, I think sometimes with stuff like that, though, if you know there's something coming, that is going to be a shift, and it's like maybe it'll justify it, but maybe not. But like that way, if you're like, I'm 51% on board.
Right.
It's like, all right, just keep going. You know? It's not going to get worse. It'll be,
Yeah. And if worse comes to worse, you can say you've read a Nobel Prize winner.
Yeah.
So that's always cool.
That's true.
And a recent one. I think she's a recent one.
Was a Nobel Prize.
Yeah. I'm not big on like award winners. I think the only other Nobel Prize winner I can think of that I've read is Toni Morrison, because I love Toni Morrison.
Yeah. My mom many years ago was like embarked on a project to read all the Nobel Prize winners. And I think not too far into it was like, I think I picked the wrong award.
Yeah.
I think I should have done like a Pulitzer or something, instead, because this is not. Nobel Prize for Literature is an interesting collection of stuff.
It is. There's a lot of stuff in translation, which isn't a bad thing, except you're at the mercy of the translation.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a big believer in like a great translator can turn a mediocre book into like an excellent book.
Yeah.
And a terrible translator can the most amazing book can be completely train wrecked.
It's like in audiobooks, it's
Yeah.
all about the narrator. Like,
Yeah.
if you get a bad narrator, the book will never work.
Yeah.
And it's like that for translators too. If you get a bad translator, the book is doomed.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I did I tried to do a Mary Roach book on audio one time, and the narrator was really, really boring.
Yeah.
And I was like, I cannot believe I'm bored listening to this. Like,
Yeah.
this is such fascinating stuff I'm hearing about, and I am so bored.
Yeah.
All right. I talked about Marvel Unleashed by the incredible Kyle Starks, the spectacular Kyle Starks, and Strange Pictures / Strange Houses by Uketsu. I didn't talk about Robot Dreams by Sarah Varone. So this is a comic that also, like Karate Prom by Kyle Starks, the comic Robot Dreams is often in the children's section. And it's I think mostly wordless or maybe even wordless comic. I think it's mostly wordless, but not totally. And it's got like, animals instead of people and whatever. And it does have a very cartoony style. And the author has written like children's picture books. And I can see why it's in the children's section.
It's not inappropriate
There's
for?
nothing inappropriate for kids. However, the narrative of it is one that I cannot possibly imagine a kid grasping, because it's very much, in my opinion, about relationships and how they change and how people kind of move on from things, and how that can be it's kind of about, to me, like how circumstances can cause people to drift apart and there's no malice to it. But there's also still feelings of like sadness that they're not.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of people have had a friend in the past who, they were like great friends for a period and then they just kind of weren't anymore.
Yeah.
And nothing specific happened or anything like that. And then, it cut to 10 years later and you haven't spoken to the person or whatever. I think it's kind of about that.
Okay.
And so I think that's not something but I think it's too subtle in the book for kids to even, first of all, understand that that's what's happening. And secondly, I don't think kids can have that experience because they haven't been alive long enough.
Right.
To happen.
They're still figuring out how to manage their anger.
Yeah.
So these like more complex feelings are still in the future for them.
Yeah. And so anyway, and then it was made into a movie in like 2024.
Did you see the movie?
I did.
Okay.
Very recently.
Okay.
It's very good. It very closely follows the book. And so it's always like what's better or like what's whatever. And it's one of the rare ones where I'm like, I think the movie is probably as good and maybe a little better. And the reason I think it might be a little better is because the movie music plays a pretty big role in the movie, and the music choices are really good and stuff. And I think that brings a little something extra to it.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of spark to it that can't really happen in a comic.
Yeah. That makes sense to me because if you think about it, comics are books, but they're visual.
Yeah.
Like sometimes the reason that I think novels are better than movies is because you get deeper into like the thought processes of characters. But in a graphic novel, it's so much more visual that it's more like a movie to begin with.
Yeah. I mean, and it follows so closely, that's what makes it hard for me to say. Because like, I think a lot of the ones where people talk about the book and the book being potentially better than the movie, often I think of Fight Club a lot because I think people debate that one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's like a carbon copy of the book. You know what I mean? Everything in the movie is in the book. And there's like a few.
That never happens.
No. And it's like there are a few things in the book that aren't in the movie. And there are a few lines in the movie that are changed from what they are in the book, but it's very close, and like, so, and that's how I feel about this too. It's very close, but I think the music adds something.
Okay.
Anyway, I recommend either one though. if you're more of a comics person, I think it's a really good one. And if you like movies, it's an animated movie. It looks a lot like the comic, and stuff like that. But I think the thing is to like, don't be fooled by it has a sort of a childish appearance. But I think the themes and stuff in it are adult, but also it's not inappropriate. Like if you watched it with your kids, they might like it. The way when I was a kid, like we would watch something and I wouldn't really, I don't really get it, because I'm a kid or whatever. We would watch Spaceballs and it's like I would probably get like 20% of the jokes and the rest it's like I didn't understand why it was funny that like Mel Brooks is playing Yoda and talking about merchandising.
Right.
And like I don't really understand that.
Right.
But it didn't cause me any harm.
Right. It's not inappropriate. It's just beyond you.
Yeah. And I think that would be what this is like. Okay. So it's an adult movie, but it's not inappropriate for kids. So if you wanted to try something out with like in that realm, I think this is a great version of that. And I think it's a kind of story that you don't see a lot, where it's like a relationship story, but it's really different.
Yeah.
It's a different aspect, a different facet of human relationships we don't hear about a lot. The other book is Harley Quinn, Destructive Comics, Volume 1 by Elliott Kalan. So, I love Elliott Kalan as a writer. He's a podcast personality. I think he's very funny. I enjoy him a lot.
I feel a butt coming.
Yeah. I've been taught instead of saying but, you should always say and. Because I'm not negating all the things I just said, but there's, and I just don't think Harley Quinn's a character I've ever really vibed with very much. And I think it boils down to me for like, it seems like Harley Quinn's a character I should like, and I just have never read any comics about Harley Quinn that I've been like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And I feel that way about Deadpool. I've just never really read any comics that I was like, that's it. They did it. And like Ghost Rider, I'm like, I've just never read I've read one issue of Ghost Rider that I thought was awesome. And it's like he's having a motorcycle race with death. And I was like, this is awesome. And, it's just like a throwaway issue from like the early 80s or something.
Yeah.
However, if you are someone who likes Harley Quinn a lot, I think you'll like this. It's basically about Harley Quinn moves back to her old neighborhood, the first neighborhood she lived in when she moved to Gotham, which is called like Throat Cutter Valley or whatever. And it's been very gentrified. It's been totally cleaned up or whatever. And it's kind of funny because she has mixed feelings about it. Like she's like, I miss the grunginess and I miss that. And she's like, but I do kind of like that I can get a smoothie here. Like, that's nice. And I'm not getting robbed.
Is she like, where's the Joker in all of this? Is he like in her life?
Completely not present.
Okay.
So at this period, I don't know if this is still the case because I don't follow the character very closely, but up till in here, Harley Quinn is mostly having a love affair with Poison Ivy.
Okay.
I guess they are like sort of partners.
Yeah, I've heard that this is,
I don't know if they're on again, off again, or if it's just, in this particular book, Poison Ivy has moved to like a swamp somewhere, which you're like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think Harley Quinn did not want to live in the swamp, which also makes sense.
Yeah, fair.
And so they're somewhat estranged, but not together.
Right.
Anyway, so then Harley Quinn basically opens up a destructive business instead of a detective business and is basically being hired by locals, who own like the local grocery store to like mess up the sort of gentrifying businesses and stuff like that. So I think it's kind of a funny premise. There are a lot of good jokes in it. There are good jokes. I think for me, the sort of like message or the talk about gentrification is, it's not, I don't want to say it's something I don't care about, but maybe in the context of comic books, I have a hard time with it because I'm just like, I don't know, when you have like a giant starfish coming from space and like destroying things and whatever, I'm like, it's hard for me to care about that and then be like, these businesses are pushing out mom and pop businesses. Like
Right.
it's too much whiplash of like, things. And I wanted to say that I want to beg Marvel Comics to let Elliot Kalin write The Thing from Fantastic Four because I think that would be like the perfect marriage of his interests and like characters that I just think he would be great, you know, and I don't know exactly how it works as far as who gets which jobs writing what. But I just feel like if anyone from Marvel Comics has any pull, like this is a good idea. It would turn out great. I think it would be a great run of that book. I would buy it. And I think a lot of other people would. And I just think he has a passion and affection for that character that I think would come through. Not that he doesn't for Harley Quinn. That would be the book that I'm like, I think that would be perfect for me. So great writer. He's also written some really good children's books, Sharko and Hippo, and Daisy Mouse Wrecks the House, Maisie Mouse Wrecks the House, Mouse Wrecks the House. And they're really fun. I think they would be great, like bedtime story type books. They're good to read aloud kind of books, and they're silly and fun, and I think a lot of people would enjoy them. So good writer. Not my number one, but I know a lot of people do have a lot of affection for Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And I think if that's you, it'll be like, yeah, 5-star read.
Okay. Cool. All right. So I have already talked about Winging It With You by Chip Pons and Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tokarczuk. I also brought The Haunted Blizzard by Aviak Johnston. This is the very small graphic novel. It is very, very slender. So, and there's almost there's very little dialogue. It is very much about atmosphere. So the story, and I can barely talk about it because I don't want to, tell you the whole thing.
You tell me like 2 minutes of stuff and it's 40% of the book.
Yeah, or the whole thing. Like I could honestly probably tell you the whole thing. So there's it's a community in I believe Alaska, northern Alaska. It's like an Arctic community, and it's there's a blizzard coming in, and there are a bunch of kids at school, and the school says we're closing down because of this blizzard that's coming in. If you have family at the high school, wait for your brother or sister to come and take you home. Otherwise, walk home now or, go meet your parents if they're picking you up. And so this trio of kids is walking home before this blizzard hits. And there are like evil spirit entities in the storm, basically. So it's the main character is this girl. She's walking home and you see just these like little wisps of something unsettling in like the background drawings. And it's based on a short story that honestly I feel like it was a better experience. This is so short that I almost felt like it was unsatisfying to read. Okay. But if you're curious about Aviak Johnston or the short story, or you think maybe you want to read Talk to Me, we had it in the library collection, but it has since been removed because of damage or disuse or something. We don't have it anymore, but you can get it through Prospector, and I recommend it. I actually just found out that there's a second volume of Talk to Me Arctic Horror coming out that I plan on reading. And I recommend. It's a particular kind of spooky, and we're kind of coming into spooky season. So if you're curious, it is super, super fast. Like you could honestly read it in like less than half an hour, probably 15 minutes. Nice. And that's spending some time like looking at the illustrations and everything. So it's a super easy way to dip your toes into Arctic horror and see if you're interested.
Okay.
Yeah. And I also brought Life on Svalbard by Cecilia Blomdahl. And we do have this in the library collection. If you're curious about what it's like to live above the Arctic Circle, there are no trees on Svalbard because they can't grow there. If you are outside of Longyearbyen, which is like the main city on Svalbard, you have to carry a rifle with you all the time because they have polar bears. And so you have to be able to defend yourself. You can't drive off of the road because there's lots of Arctic tundra that's protected. And there are also like nesting birds and like wildlife there are a lot of places that you can only get to in the summer by boat.
Right.
Because you can't drive. Like in the winter, you can use snowmobiles.
Sure.
And if there's a road to a place, you can drive on the road. But once everything defrosts, like in the summer, you have to go by boat. So she and her partner have a cabin that is, out in the country, but in the summer they have to get there by boat because they can't. And so like they were renovating and like they had to bring all of their furniture and rugs and everything in the winter by snowmobile, like dragging it on a sledge.
Right.
Because otherwise they would have to literally carry it on their back 1 kilometer from the beach.
Man, that would be, I was decorating a house and I had to carry everything.
Yeah.
A kilometer. I think my house would be, I think it'd be pretty bare. I would have to be a huge fan of a specific rug before it would have to be the arcade space pattern rug or something.
Well, and that's why they did all of that in the winter. Like they were strategic about it. But she writes a lot about like what it's like to live in polar day or polar night and what it's like to be in the middle of the daytime at lunch and you can go outside and see the northern lights. And like just the magic of the Arctic environment and also why it is the way it is. Like she'll have like diagrams about why do they have polar night? Why do they have polar day? And it's like the angle of the sun and the earth and, the rotation and why it's like that. So she has like science. She has lots of really beautiful pictures. She talks about like the everyday life of somebody who lives like this. And also like the environment and just what it's like there. What are the temperatures and when does winter, like they have literally almost 4 solid months of day and then they have, fall and then they have almost 4 solid months of night and then they have spring. So it's like they spend a lot of time with the weather and people talk a lot about like, oh, I would go mad. But she talks about like the variation of light in polar night and how you get this like beautiful pastel kind of sky that you only can see like in the Arctic. So it's just it's a way of life that is unfamiliar to me, but that is appealing. Like and like an environment that's very different and I don't know. It's just the photographs are lovely and it's just a delightful way to spend some time, especially as we move into winter. I feel like it's a very cozy book about living in winter and how to not get through winter, but like embrace
winter. That it's winter and
experience the cold and what it's like to be out in snow and whatever, but also how to then get cozy and like you get the best of both worlds. And it's a very nice book.
I was thinking when I came today, because I was like, oh yeah, I have like 3 comics and, 1 book by a weirdo. And then I was like, Meagan kind of did her thing too, because she's got 3 wintry books.
Yeah.
And a rom-com.
Yeah.
And I was
it's
like,
true.
we really, we've really been our authentic selves on this.
It's true. It's true. Honestly, Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead is an oddball one for me.
Yeah.
But I was reading an article. Somebody was apparently Pedro Pascal is a big reader. And so they were like, Pedro Pascal's like top 10 favorite books. And I was like, interesting. I'm always curious about like what people who read love.
Yeah.
And apparently this is one of the books that he really loved. And I had heard about it before, and people had said that they loved it before and that it was like a weird little book. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. I have a credit for an audiobook. I'm going to listen to it. And I can't deny there was a part of me that was like, I'm not sure that this was
I don't know, Pedro.
this is working out.
Yeah.
But by the end, I was like, I'm glad I took a chance on this oddball book.
Yeah. I think this is like, the whole point of doing something like this.
Yeah.
Because I think there are a lot of books out there that it's like maybe people need a little...
A push.
Yeah, just
or
a
an
little
enticement.
Yeah, or like some reassurance that it's like this is a good investment of your time.
Right.
Like, this isn't I don't know, when you go to the bookstore and you're like reading the blurbs and stuff and you're just like, I don't know, like every blurb is written by a marketer,
Yeah.
and then you're like, well, I see, oh, so and so put a quote on this and you're like, that doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah. Are they the author's best friend or
Yeah.
did they get paid?
Yeah.
Like, you're never sure.
Yeah, or I mean, I've, rumor mill. I heard from somebody that they were like, a lot of times the way that works is I ask someone for a blurb for my book, and what they'll say is, well, you just write it and then send it to me, and I'll, tweak it if I needed to make
Put
it
it in
sound
my
like
own
me.
language,
But
yeah.
basically, and then I'll put my name on it, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we should do away with that part.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I will say, in the romance community, at least with like the more independent, like there's groups of friends in romance,
Sure.
and they blurb each other's books, but they definitely read them.
Yeah.
And they tend to like form these little groups of very similar types. So
Yeah.
like, if Allie Hazelwood is blurbing this book, A, she read it, and B, chances are there are some similarities to her
Right.
writing. So it's a little like, but you won't know that unless you are weird like me and you're kind of embedded in this larger community of readers and authors.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I could see it on that. Like, if you liked this author, you'll probably like this book.
Right.
I just feel that in most of literature, it's like, I mean, like, I love the guy, but a Stephen King blurb means nothing.
Yeah.
Because he's blurbed so much stuff. And you're just like, it doesn't really tell me that it's anything like.
Well, he reads everything.
Yeah.
So
Right.
if you're looking for an experience like The Shining,
Right.
just because he blurbs something, there is zero guarantee that it's going to be anything like reading a book by him.
Yeah.
And even, if you're reading a book by him, you're never sure, are you getting a
That's
fantasy? Are you getting like an emotional, historical, like
Yeah.
character study? Are you getting a most terrifying book ever?
Yeah.
Could
you
be
read
any of them.
The Running Man, and then you read The Body, and you're like, these are pretty different.
Yeah. You read, Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
Very different experience to it.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just like a weird, it's hard to know. So anyway,
Yeah.
I like that things like this, I think, can help
Yeah.
introduce people to things, and maybe further than just introduce, just
Yeah.
putting it in front of people, but it's more like,
A little nudge to expand your normal.
yeah.
Because sometimes, like this was outside my normal. It's
Yeah.
definitely outside my normal. And I wasn't sure it was going to be worth it for the bulk of the story. But
Yeah.
in the end, I'm really grateful that I finished it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like, Strange Pictures. Like, I am not a mystery guy.
Yeah.
And so, I was like, I don't know. But I don't know. I think it can help people sometimes to hear like, oh, well, I'm not a mystery guy, but
Yeah.
it was different, and it was a mystery I did like. So if you're not a mystery person, but you're curious, yeah, this will probably work.
Yeah.
All right. We did it.
Yay.
Boom. I feel like maybe next time we should start like, I should, you open with a joke, and I'm like, should I close us with like I don't know, what's the
depressing
opposite
headline?
of a joke? Yes. Yeah. It's like the opposite of a joke, and just be like,
I don't think any of us wants more
I'll
depressing
read a
headlines in
couple
our.
lines from a account of a massacre from 200 years ago or something.
I think we're good.
And then the Vikings did this, and like whatever.
Leave the Vikings alone. They were mostly farmers, okay?
Okay, sure. They have a really hard PR going. It's cool. They were doing the same thing everybody was doing, right?
Yeah. Well, and
They didn't know.
they were particularly scary, I think, because their religion said, like, you want to die in battle. So they went at you like 100%. Like, I hope that you kill me.
Yeah.
There's something extra scary about someone who's like, come at me, bro. Really, really give me your best, and I'd be happy if you killed me. I'm ready to die.
Yeah, I guess when it's like people who are entering a battle with the attitude of either I will kill this person and be alive, or I will die in battle, that's a win-win.
Yeah.
You're like, ooh, that's not...
Yeah, this is a person with nothing to
not
lose.
ideal for me. I do not share that point of view.
I would rather live. Thank
Yeah,
you.
if I'm not 50-50 on this. I'm pretty 99-1. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, we'll see you next month.
See you in a month.